Earth detected the alien fleet on a Tuesday morning. 7 massive ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, moving slowly but deliberately toward our planet. Commander Sam Wilson was drinking coffee in the control room of the Global Space Defense Center when the alert sounded. He spilled hot liquid on his uniform as he rushed to the main screen. The objects were unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Sleek, dark vessels that seemed to bend the light around them. "Get me confirmation from all observation stations," Sam ordered, his voice steady despite the adrenaline rushing through his body. "And contact the Security Council immediately." Within hours, leaders from every nation were in emergency sessions. The strange vessels had now passed Mars and continued their approach. They made no attempt to hide or change course. At 3:17 p.m., the first transmission arrived. "Put it on screen," Sam said, now surrounded by military officials and scientists. The image that appeared shocked everyone into silence. The alien had gray skin that seemed to shimmer like metal. 4 dark eyes blinked independently across a wide face. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely, but the words came through in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am Grand Marshal Krev of the Galactic Empire. Your world now falls under our protection and rule. Prepare for integration. Resistance is unnecessary and will result in correction." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the room in stunned silence. Olivia Bennett, a military communications specialist, was the first to speak. "Sir, the translation was too perfect. They've been studying us for some time." Sam nodded grimly. Analysis of the transmission. Olivia reviewed the data on her screen. "There's something strange in their signal pattern. It's pulsing in a way that doesn't match their speech, almost like there's a second channel hidden inside it." While governments around the world debated their response, Olivia worked through the night with her team to decode the hidden patterns. By morning, she had discovered something crucial. "The Empire uses quantum-linked communications," she explained to Sam. "But there's a flaw in how they process our radio waves. They're experiencing a microsecond delay when they hit our atmosphere. It's tiny, but it's there." Meanwhile, world leaders formed the Earth Defense Coalition, pooling military resources and technology. The decision was unanimous. Earth would not surrender. Sam delivered humanity's answer to the Empire. "Earth acknowledges your message. We respectfully decline integration at this time and request peaceful dialogue as equals." The response came within minutes. "Your world has no standing to decline. Preparation for integration continues. Your primitive defenses cannot stop this process." Satellite imagery showed the alien fleet now positioned around Earth, 1 massive ship above each continent. Olivia rushed into the command center with new information. "Commander, I've analyzed their communication protocols further. Each ship communicates with a specific frequency signature. They're actually vulnerable during transmission. There's a brief moment when their shields reconfigure to allow signals through." Sam looked at the tactical display. "So if we could disrupt those transmissions, we might be able to create a window of opportunity," Olivia finished. "But we'd need to coordinate globally to hit all ships simultaneously." As they discussed possibilities, the first attacks began. Beams of energy shot from the alien vessels toward major cities. Defense systems activated automatically, intercepting some but not all of the strikes. In the chaos that followed, Sam made a decision. "Get me a direct line to all coalition forces. We're implementing Emergency Protocol Omega." Olivia worked frantically to establish secure connections while Sam gathered Earth's remaining military leaders. "The Empire expected us to surrender without a fight," Sam told them, determination in his voice. "They underestimated humanity. And thanks to Lieutenant Bennett, we found our first advantage." As night fell over a wounded Earth, plans for humanity's defense took shape. The alien ships continued their orbital positions, unaware that beneath them, a resistance was already forming. The war for Earth's future had begun. The Empire's first assault had left deep scars on Earth. Major cities like New York, Beijing, and Cairo now had smoking craters where landmarks once stood. Millions were dead or missing, yet humanity had not surrendered. "We didn't expect to survive the first wave," Sam Wilson said to the remaining coalition leaders, gathered in an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. "But we're still here, and now we fight back." Earth had refused the Empire's demands, prompting fury from the alien forces. Their next move was to establish ground bases, landing troops and equipment in strategic locations around the globe. Meanwhile, in a hastily converted laboratory 50 feet below Princeton University, scientist Eric Russell worked frantically with samples of Imperial technology salvaged from a downed scout ship. For 3 days straight, he had barely slept or eaten. "There's something happening when the alien metal interacts with this," he told his colleague, holding up a small vial of dark powder. "It's thorium dioxide, a rare earth element we mine for nuclear fuel. When it comes in contact with their hull material, it creates a reaction that disrupts their energy fields." Across the room, Amy Patel looked up from her workstation. Before the invasion, she had been designing experimental solar panels. Now she was Earth's lead engineer on alien technology. "Show me that reaction again," she said, moving to Eric's station. "I think I can use this to create a shield against their weapons." While scientists worked to understand the Empire's technology, the resistance organized. Military bases that survived the initial attack became hubs for counterstrikes. Civilian volunteers formed surveillance networks, tracking alien movements and sabotaging their operations. Sam coordinated these efforts from the Central Command bunker, where Olivia Bennett continued analyzing Imperial communications. "They're overconfident," she reported. "Their transmissions show they think this is just a cleanup operation now. They're not expecting organized resistance." 2 weeks after the first attack, humanity launched its first coordinated strike. Using Eric's discovery, resistance fighters coated conventional weapons with thorium compounds. When these bullets and missiles struck Imperial forces, they caused unexpected damage, bypassing alien shields. The Imperial governor, outraged by this setback, ordered orbital bombardment of suspected resistance locations, but Amy had adapted the thorium effect into a prototype shield generator. The first test came when an Imperial energy beam struck a small base in northern Canada. The shield held. "It works," Amy shouted, watching the data stream in. "It's absorbing 70% of their energy weapons impact. We can replicate this for other bases." The news spread quickly through resistance channels. For the first time since the invasion, humanity had a true defense against the Empire's superior technology. In response, the Empire deployed ground troops in greater numbers. They were tall, armored soldiers with enhanced strength, but they could still be killed. The resistance fought street by street, city by city, using knowledge of the terrain and thorium-enhanced weapons. 3 months into the occupation, Earth had established a stalemate. The Empire controlled the skies and major industrial centers, but the resistance controlled the countryside and mountains. Neither side could claim victory. Eric and his team continued to study recovered alien technology. "Their systems run on principles similar to our quantum computing," he explained to Sam during a secure briefing. "But they've never encountered thorium in this particular isotopic state before. It's rare even on Earth." Plans formed for a larger offensive. Resistance cells worldwide began manufacturing thorium-coated weapons and portable shield generators based on Amy's designs. "The Empire thought we'd be an easy conquest," Sam told his officers. "They didn't understand what humans do when backed into a corner. We fight harder." As Imperial forces prepared to crush the remaining resistance, they remained unaware that humanity was building something they hadn't anticipated: hope. The tide was about to turn. 6 months into the occupation, Earth's population lived dual lives. On the surface, they appeared to accept Imperial rule. Underground, the resistance thrived. Hidden 20 stories beneath Detroit's ruins, Lisa Gray stared at screens filled with alien symbols. Once a mathematics professor, she now led the team working to break Imperial encryption codes. "There's a pattern here," she muttered, tracing lines across the display. They use a base 16 system, but with quantum variables. For weeks, she had worked nearly nonstop. The Resistance needed access to Imperial communications to coordinate their efforts. Today, something finally clicked. "I've got it," she shouted, startling her teammates. "The encryption key changes based on their position relative to their home star. We can predict it now." Across the continent, Chris Martinez prepared for another raid. The former commercial pilot now commanded a squadron of modified fighter jets, hidden in an abandoned mining complex. "Remember the approach pattern," he told his pilots. "Hug the ground until the last moment, then hit their supply ships as they land. The thorium coating on our missiles will do the rest." Chris had lost his family in the first wave of attacks. Now he flew with cold precision, becoming the Resistance's most effective strike leader. His squadron had destroyed 12 Imperial transports in the past month alone. While fighters struck from the sky, a network of civilian informants provided crucial intelligence. Regular people, teachers, farmers, mechanics, watched Imperial movements and passed information through coded messages. One such message reached the main Resistance base that evening. A major Imperial processing facility had been established near what was once Minneapolis. Thousands of captured humans were being held there. "We need to move on this," Sam told his advisors, "but we'll need more firepower than we currently have." Dr. Nathan Cole stepped forward. Formerly a chemical engineer for a pharmaceutical company, he now headed weapons development. "I've refined the thorium compound," he explained, opening a case containing gleaming blue cylinders. "These grenades can temporarily disable their energy fields in a 20-meter radius, enough for a strike team to get inside their facility." Planning for the rescue operation began immediately. Maps were studied, teams assembled, and equipment prepared. The Resistance had grown more efficient with each operation, learning from both successes and failures. 3 days later, Chris led a diversionary airstrike while ground teams approached the facility. Among them was Olivia Bennett, whose knowledge of Imperial communications made her essential to the mission. "Their patrol patterns are synchronized with their central communication pulses," she explained to the strike team. "We'll have a 7-second window between guard rotations." The operation began at midnight. Chris's fighters appeared from the west, drawing Imperial defenses. Meanwhile, ground teams approached from the east, using thorium shields to mask their heat signatures. When they reached the facility's perimeter, Nathan's grenades proved their worth. Imperial force fields flickered and died, allowing Resistance fighters to breach the walls. Inside, they found thousands of humans in stasis chambers, being prepared for transport off-world. The team worked quickly, disabling security systems and awakening the captives. "We have 30 minutes before their systems reset," Olivia warned, monitoring Imperial communications. "Move everyone to the transport vehicles." As the last civilians were evacuated, Imperial reinforcements arrived. The strike team provided covering fire, allowing the transports to escape. Several fighters fell in the battle, but the mission succeeded. Over 3,000 people were rescued. Back at the Resistance headquarters, Sam received the news with mixed emotions. They had saved thousands, but at the cost of good soldiers. Still, each successful operation brought more recruits to their cause. "The Empire is starting to realize we're not just random attacks anymore," he told his commanders. "We're organized, we're learning, and we're getting stronger." As Lisa decoded more Imperial communications, a new opportunity emerged. The Resistance was about to take their fight to the next level. Imperial Commander Zex Thar stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at Earth's blue oceans with calculating eyes. "Begin the extraction protocol," he ordered. "Our water reserves are low, and this planet has an abundance." The Empire had deployed massive pumping stations in the Atlantic and Pacific. These machines could extract millions of gallons per hour, pulling water directly into orbital storage tanks. The effects were immediate. Coastal waters receded, marine life died in massive numbers, and weather patterns began to shift drastically. When resistance monitoring stations detected the operation, Sam Wilson called an emergency meeting. If they continue this extraction, our entire ecosystem will collapse within months, he explained, showing footage of the alien machinery. This is no longer just about occupation. It's about planetary survival. The resistance needed a way to strike back more effectively. Their opportunity came unexpectedly when a patrol led by Olivia Bennett encountered a damaged Imperial scout ship attempting an emergency landing. All units converge on these coordinates, she ordered through her secure radio. We have a chance to capture intact Imperial technology. The team surrounded the crashed vessel before Imperial reinforcements could arrive. Inside, they found not only advanced weapons and shields, but something far more valuable: a functioning navigation system with complete maps of Imperial space. When the captured technology reached Resistance headquarters, Kevin Guion examined it with excitement. Before the invasion, he had been a cybersecurity specialist. Now he was Earth's best hope for infiltrating Imperial networks. Their navigation system connects directly to their central network, Kevin explained to Sam. I can use this access point to plant false information throughout their command structure. The plan was daring. Use the captured system to feed misleading intelligence to Imperial forces, drawing them away from Resistance strongholds while simultaneously planning attacks on their command ships. While Kevin worked on the cyber infiltration, Lisa Gray made another breakthrough with the Imperial communications. They're planning something big, she told Sam, translating intercepted messages. 3 command ships will converge over the North American continent in 5 days. This could be our chance to strike at their leadership. The Resistance mobilized every available fighter. Thorium weapons were distributed, shield generators were placed on aircraft, and strike teams prepared for coordinated attacks. Kevin's infiltration proved successful beyond expectations. I've inserted false security alerts across their network, he reported. They're diverting forces to defend against phantom attacks in Asia and Europe. When the 3 Imperial command ships positioned themselves over North America, they expected only token resistance. Instead, they faced Earth's full counterattack. Chris Martinez led the first wave, his fighters approaching from multiple directions. Rather than attacking the heavily shielded command ships directly, they targeted the communication arrays with thorium-enhanced missiles. Focus on the transmission nodes, Chris instructed his pilots. Follow Olivia's intel on their vulnerable points. As predicted, when the communication arrays were damaged, the ship's shields temporarily reconfigured to compensate. In that moment, the second wave struck with more powerful weapons, breaching the hulls. Ground-based thorium cannons, built from modified satellite dishes, fired concentrated energy pulses at the damaged vessels. One by one, the mighty Imperial ships lost power and stability. The first command ship crashed into the empty Nevada desert. The second managed to maintain orbit, but lost all offensive capabilities. The third attempted retreat but was crippled by a final barrage of missiles. While the space battle raged, Resistance ground forces struck the Imperial processing facilities, freeing thousands more captured humans. The coordinated attack shocked Imperial leadership. They had severely underestimated Earth's capabilities. We've dealt them a serious blow, Sam told his commanders as reports came in. But the war is far from over. What none of them realized yet was that their victory had consequences beyond Earth. Throughout the Empire's vast territories, news of the successful resistance spread among other conquered species. For the first time, the invincible Empire looked vulnerable. The Resistance headquarters buzzed with activity. Engineers worked day and night to adapt captured Imperial technology to Earth's weapon systems. The power conversion is unstable, Amy Powdell explained, showing Sam the modified fighter jet. But we've increased weapon strength by 300% while maintaining our thorium shielding. All across the planet, humans were learning to combine their own ingenuity with alien tech. Farming equipment was converted to build weapons. Medical scanners were repurposed to detect Imperial troops. Even children contributed, collecting discarded alien materials for recycling. Officer Daniel Wright studied the holographic map of North America. As a former Special Forces commander, he now led the Resistance's most elite strike teams. "This communications hub controls their entire western operations," he said, pointing to a structure in the Rocky Mountains. "If we capture it intact, we can broadcast directly through their network." Sam nodded. "What do you need?" 20 of our best fighters, thorium explosives, and one of Kevin's network infiltration packages. Within 48 hours, Daniel's team was in position. The Imperial Communications Hub was heavily guarded, but previous raids had established a pattern. The aliens rotated their security forces at precise intervals. 60 seconds until the rotation. Olivia's voice came through their earpieces. From headquarters, she monitored Imperial communications, guiding the team's approach. Daniel signaled his team forward. They moved silently through the forest, thorium-coated armor making them invisible to alien sensors. "Guards moving to east entrance. You have your window." The team rushed the west entrance, placing thorium charges on the security doors. The controlled explosion disabled the locking mechanisms without alerting the automated systems. Inside, they encountered minimal resistance. Most Imperial soldiers were positioned on the outer perimeter, never expecting humans to penetrate so deeply. "Control room secured," Daniel reported 10 minutes later. "Casualties minimal." Beginning upload of Kevin's package. Back at headquarters, Kevin monitored the data stream. "Connection established. I'm redirecting their communication protocols now." The captured hub gave Earth unprecedented access to the Imperial network. For the first time, humanity could broadcast their own message to all Imperial forces and beyond. Sam crafted the transmission carefully. It contained footage of Imperial atrocities, evidence of the Empire's illegal water harvesting, and documentation of human resistance victories. Most importantly, it contained a message for other subjugated species throughout the galaxy. The Empire is not invincible. Earth stands against them, and we are winning. Join us. The broadcast reached thousands of Imperial ships and bases. It penetrated the controlled information networks of dozens of conquered worlds. Before Imperial technicians could block it, the message had spread too far to contain. Meanwhile, scientist Kelly Foster made a critical breakthrough in her laboratory beneath Chicago. Their life support systems all used the same basic design. She explained to Sam over a secure channel. "I've developed a virus that can disable the oxygen scrubbers without harming any biological life forms." She held up a small cylinder containing a gray mist. "This can be introduced through their ventilation systems. It won't kill them, but it will force evacuation of affected ships and bases." The implications were enormous. Until now, humanity had been fighting a defensive war, trying to protect Earth while developing countermeasures. With Kelly's virus, they could take the offensive. Sam ordered production of the virus to begin immediately. Within days, resistance cells worldwide received deployment instructions. The Imperial response to these developments was swift and brutal. Orbital bombardments increased, targeting suspected resistance locations. Ground troops conducted mass arrests in occupied cities. But it was too late. The Empire's grip on Earth was weakening. In their desperation, Imperial Command made a critical error. They pulled forces from other occupied worlds to reinforce Earth operations, leaving those planets vulnerable to their own resistance movements. As humanity prepared for the next phase of their plan, they remained unaware that their message had already started a chain reaction throughout the galaxy. Help was coming from the most unexpected source. The Resistance Command Center fell silent as the strange transmission came through. At first, they thought it was some new Imperial tactic. The language was unlike anything on Earth, but the intent seemed clear. "It's coming from beyond our solar system," Olivia said, analyzing the signal. "And it's definitely not Imperial encryption." Lisa Gray worked frantically with her team to translate the message. After hours of calculation and comparison with known Imperial languages, she had an answer. "They identify themselves as Nexarians," she reported to Sam. "They're responding to our broadcast. They want to help us fight the Empire. Within days, 2 more transmissions arrived from different star systems, the Viridian Collective and the Altaran Republic, both victims of Imperial expansion, had also received Earth's message. They've been under Imperial control for decades, Sam explained to the gathered resistance leaders. Our success has inspired them to rise up again. The potential allies offered technological information and strategic intelligence. Most importantly, they proposed a coordinated strike against Imperial forces throughout the galaxy. We need to establish direct contact, Sam decided. And for that, we need our own faster-than-light capability. The solution came from the wreckage of the Imperial command ship that had crashed in Nevada. Engineer Amy Patel had been studying its propulsion system. We can retrofit the drive into one of our larger aircraft, she explained. It won't be elegant, but it should work for a single vessel. Captain Andrea Howard volunteered to command the mission. A former Navy pilot with combat experience, she was one of the few humans qualified for such an experimental journey. The navigation will be tricky, she said, examining the modified system. But the captured Imperial charts should get us there. While Andrea's team prepared Earth's first interstellar vessel, the global resistance intensified their attacks on Imperial positions. Kevin's network infiltration continued to disrupt enemy communications, while Kelly's oxygen scrubber virus forced evacuations of multiple Imperial bases. 3 weeks later, Andrea's ship was ready. They named it the Defiance, a fitting symbol of humanity's refusal to surrender. Contact the Nexarians first, Sam instructed Andrea. Their system is closest, and their technology seems most compatible with what we've salvaged. The launch was conducted in secret, from a hidden facility beneath the Antarctic ice. The Defiance rose through a concealed opening, accelerated beyond the atmosphere, and then vanished in a flash of blue energy as its faster-than-light drive engaged. Andrea and her crew of 7 experienced disorientation as space bent around them. The journey lasted only hours by their perception, though they traveled over 12 light years. When they arrived in the Nexarian system, they found chaos. The Nexarian resistance had already begun their uprising, attacking Imperial installations throughout their world. Your timing is perfect, the Nexarian leader told Andrea when communications were established. We have disabled their planetary defenses, but their orbital fleet will return soon. Andrea shared Earth's discoveries, the thorium effect, the communications vulnerabilities, the life support virus. In return, the Nexarians provided advanced shield technology and weapons designs that could be produced with Earth's resources. Similar exchanges followed with the Viridians and Altarans. Each species had found different weaknesses in Imperial systems, and together they formed a comprehensive strategy. As Andrea prepared to return to Earth, the Imperial fleet reclaimed orbit around the Nexarian homeworld. A fierce battle erupted, with Andrea's crew joining Nexarian fighters. The combined Earth-Nexarian tactics proved devastatingly effective. The Imperial fleet, unprepared for resistance at this level, suffered heavy losses before retreating. When the Defiance returned to Earth, it brought representatives from all 3 alien resistance movements. For the first time, humans met other intelligent species as equals and allies. Together, they prepared for the Empire's inevitable counterattack. Intelligence suggested that Imperial High Command had assembled their remaining forces for one massive assault on Earth, the planet that had sparked this dangerous rebellion. The final battle for freedom was about to begin. The Imperial fleet appeared suddenly, materializing from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Over 200 warships surrounded Earth, their weapons powered and ready. "This is Grand Admiral Vorkath of the Imperial Armada," came the transmission to all Earth frequencies. "Your rebellion ends today. Surrender now or witness the end of your civilization." From the underground command center, Sam Wilson broadcast humanity's response. "We decline your offer," he said simply. "Earth remains free." The Imperial bombardment began immediately. Energy weapons rained down toward major cities and resistance strongholds. But this time, Earth was prepared. Amy Patel's enhanced shield network activated globally. Based on their thorium discoveries and improved with Nexarian technology, the shields created a protective barrier that absorbed the Imperial assault. Shields holding at 82% capacity. Amy reported, monitoring the global grid. The Nexarian modifications are working perfectly. The Empire, surprised by Earth's defenses, increased power to their weapons. Some shields began to falter under the sustained attack. They're concentrating fire on North America, Olivia warned. Shield capacity dropping to 67% in that sector. Sam made the call they had been waiting for. Deploy the countermeasure fleet. Around the world, hidden hangars and bunkers opened. Hundreds of aircraft rose into the sky. A mixture of modified Earth fighters and small craft built using alien technology. Each carried Kelly Foster's biological virus and thorium-enhanced weapons. Chris Martinez led the first wave, targeting the Imperial flagship. Remember your training, he told his pilots. Use the approach vectors that mask our thorium signatures until the last moment. The Earth fleet seemed tiny compared to the Imperial Armada, but they had the element of surprise. Imperial sensors, still unable to properly track thorium-shielded vessels, detected the attack too late. Kelly's virus spread quickly through the ventilation systems of multiple Imperial ships. Alarms blared as life support systems failed, forcing emergency evacuations into smaller vessels. In the confusion, more Earth fighters breached the Imperial formation, targeting communication arrays and weapon systems. Then, at the critical moment, space rippled behind the Imperial fleet. The Allied forces had arrived. Nexarian, Viridian, and Alteran ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, catching the Empire in a devastating crossfire. All Allied vessels acknowledged, Andrea Howard reported from the Defiance, which now served as the coordination point between Earth and alien forces. Commencing synchronized attack pattern. The battle raged for hours. Imperial ships, designed to suppress resistance rather than fight equal opponents, found themselves outmaneuvered by the smaller, more agile Allied vessels. On board the Imperial command ship, Grand Admiral Vorkath received disturbing reports from across the galaxy. The rebellion had spread to 17 more worlds. Imperial forces were retreating on multiple fronts. The Emperor demands an explanation for your failure, his superior's hologram stated coldly. The humans have united the outer systems against us, Vorkath replied. Our forces are stretched too thin-toe. His transmission was cut short as thorium-enhanced missiles breached his ship's defenses. Throughout the Imperial fleet, similar scenes played out as command structures collapsed. By sunset, the outcome was clear. The remaining Imperial ships, facing mutiny from within and defeat from without, began surrendering or retreating. Earth had won. In the weeks that followed, representatives from dozens of formerly subjugated worlds arrived on Earth. A new galactic council formed, dedicated to rebuilding what the Empire had destroyed and establishing a lasting peace. Commander Sam Wilson and Lieutenant Olivia Bennett were chosen as Earth's first representatives to this new alliance. We were the smallest, the least advanced. Sam addressed the council at their first meeting. Yet we stood against the Empire and prevailed. Not because we were stronger, but because we refused to surrender our freedom. The galaxy entered a new era. Earth technology spread to other worlds, while humans learned from their new allies. The former Imperial territories transformed into a cooperative of independent planets. And on Earth itself, rebuilding began. Cities rose from ruins. Forests were replanted. The scars of war would remain for generations, but humanity had earned something precious beyond measure. They had earned their place among the stars.